10,750 pounds, although something like this, you could tow it, you're probably not going to. This is an Eagle 332, which is literally just the travel trailer version of a 319 Jayco Eagle rear kitchen fifth wheel. Basically, if you love that kind of very household feeling of that 319 fifth wheel, but you don't want, don't like, don't need, can't handle all the extra steps, congratulations. They adapted that floor plan into what I love to refer to as a flat deck fifth wheel. So I did a thing here real quick. I jumped inside right after I hooked up the battery. You can see this pad still booting up, but you don't have to wait for it to boot up. This is the new BM Pro system that is basically your central nervous system for the RV. Pretty much everything in the camper talks to this thing. It's actually easier to list what doesn't go through this system rather than what does. And it's neat that if you want to, you've got the handy little touch screen here. You can control all your lights and fans and awnings and slides. This can control your heating and your cooling, and anything you can do off that, you could do off your phone, which it's nice to be. Imagine laying in your bedroom or sitting in the chair and you're too hot or too cold. You don't even got to get up or put on pants to change your climate controls or anything like that. But like I just demonstrated, you don't have to wait for this screen. You still have buttons for your main lights. You can still choose, do you want to operate your awnings and your slides and jacks right from here? It's really cool. So normally I wouldn't start with that, but since I had a very limited time before the 12 volt system, or after I plugged in the 12 volt before the system booted up, I wanted to catch that first. So now, back to the task at hand. One of the things I also normally like to do is show RVs with the slides closed. That wouldn't do you a whole lot of good in this case. The thing with the rear kitchen, personally, I think rear kitchens are pound for pound the best floor plan for use in a destination scenario. But they're not awesome for traveling because like your refrigerator's all the way back there. And as long as we're talking about that, I do want to mention you have different refrigerator options here. But with that refrigerator being buried dead on the tail of this trailer, if you plan to do any level of towing, I cannot recommend personally, strongly enough to go to the RV fridge that you see here. It is rated for more shock absorption than a residential refrigerator, and since this is all the way on the tail of the trailer, imagine a school bus when you see the footage when the kids get banged against the ceiling when the bus hits a bump. Same thing's happening to that refrigerator and everything in that fridge. Okay, so those orders of business out of the way. What is this thing? Well, I mentioned it's just a flat deck version of the 319 MLOK Eagle fifth wheel that I would say you try to find here at Haylett RV, but we can't keep it in stock. It's so popular, it sells nearly immediately when it arrives. But the cool thing about an Eagle trailer, it doesn't just share a name, and it's not a similar floor plan to that fifth wheel. It's a part-for-part match. And one of the ways that they accomplish that, which is really outstanding, is a 7'3" interior. That is unbelievably uncommon in the world. Like, you tend to find ceiling heights like that in like park models and destination travel trailers. Some of them are only 7 foot, not even 7'3". And what that allows them to do is use those extra tall 6.5 foot walk-in fifth wheel slides here in a travel trailer. And that's kind of the recurring trend. It's a flat deck fifth wheel, but the thing is, it basically still has a fifth wheel's budget because it has all the big fifth wheel fancy parts. This is not made to be less expensive, smaller, lighter. It's made to be big and bad and everything you've ever wanted without all the extra stairs. Staring us in the face the whole time is this very different thing. I feel it's a little bit of a misnomer to call it an island. I kind of feel like it's the kitchen bar table, you know? It's a multi-function sort of item. Obviously, it can very much function as an island, but I also like that they didn't bury a sink or anything into it, so it's just nothing but prep space, function space. It'd be a cool place to sit down and have a drink with your friends. Like maybe, you know, you meet up with a friend you haven't seen and, you know, you crack open a bottle of wine or something like that. Like I could see that being a neat little conversation kind of scenario there. Or part of the thing, this floor plan will, especially when we get to the kitchen, it really speaks to me personally. It reminds me very much of visiting my grandparents when I was a kid, because in their house, they have this rear kitchen with a couple corner windows like that, and it has an overlook over their backyard. And as soon as I see these windows and that sink arrangement, even that little elevated shelf right there, it immediately takes me back to my childhood and reminds me of seeing my grandparents. And then they would sit me down at their kitchen bar, I would pull up a stool, they'd make me a sandwich, and I'd just have a good time. I love this floor plan. It's like I said, it takes me back to my childhood, but ignoring all that, it's also super awesome and super functional. So we saw all these big windows over here, the taller slides. You've also got one of my favorite things that Eagle does is that destination dining desk. First, that tabletop has a handy little gas strut for getting to the storage below it. And secondly, this is primarily a couple's coach, but if you do entertain some friends or family, it includes a pair of fold-away guest chairs, and they can store in the pass-through compartment, under the bed, in the front closet. But you notice, it feels a little, short, not quite enough space for them. Don't worry, they got you covered. You extend that out, then you can drop this top back down, and voila! You have a true 4-adult comfortable seating and dining area. Now, just above that fold-away guest chair, there's this little 4-button wall panel. You will see those things scattered all over the RV, and they all do different things relative to their location in the RV. And the thing is, they're very intelligent. Like here you can turn on and off all the ceiling lights or the dinette lights or the pendant lights above the kitchen or something like that. Like you don't have to get up. You don't have to get your phone out of your pocket. That's part of the BM Pro system. You can do all the fancy technological stuff, but you don't have to. Now, a rear kitchen isn't much of a rear kitchen if it doesn't have good storage. And this thing has it by the galorage. I mean, it's loaded. So I want to start working my way around here because there's a lot to cover. It's all pocket screwed, all hidden hinge cabinets. And that's another thing I like, that they didn't bury a sink in the middle of this kind of multi-function, kitchen counter, table, desk, island combo job here. Huge pots and pan storage, which is something a lot of RVs, even fifth wheels, very often lack, is a place that's really good for pots and pans. When you get the RV fridge like this, you'll get a little bonus drawer below it, but no matter what, you'll always have that storage pocket above. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, to me, I look at that and I think that's where someone's probably going to put the booze. If we're just being honest, if I'm being real, that's just calling it how I see it. Now back here, the kitchen lights, I didn't have the lighting on above the kitchen when we peeked out those windows earlier. There's normal ceiling lighting, but there's also indirect lighting behind that sort of barn beam accent figure, and it is really cool at night. It's an awesome little place. Like, if you want to wake up, you need to come to the kitchen every now and then, you got to grab a quick drink or something like that. You want to just, you hear a funny sound, you want to peek outside those beautiful windows, you can. Speaking of sinks, speaking of water, what if you didn't have to kill a ton of storage space in your RV, bringing along like packs and packs of bottled water? Because I know a lot of people in their RV will only drink bottled water. They won't drink the water from the campsite. Well, you see that little baby faucet sitting right there. This RV has a built-in freshwater drinking system. It is very cool. It's completely separate from everything else, all the other holding tanks. And basically, without churching it up too much, it has a Culligan jug dedicated for water. So you have your own 5-gallon fresh water supply, which equates to a ton of bottles of water. And you see the little cap that you put on those jugs. You can replace those jugs, refill those jugs at almost any big box store, like grocery store nowadays. Frankly, it's way cheaper than bottles of water, too. You could have a second jug for hot swapping. There's tons of room down there, as you can see with that wastebasket hanging out. Tons of room in that area. And it's just a neat thing. You don't have to use it. It has its own separate 12-volt pump. It's completely separate from everything else. Neat feature. Solid surface countertops, stainless steel sink, and around the corner, you have your handy little, perfect little kind of coffee maker corner. Although, as we slide over here into the, well, slide, you've got another set of outlets just above the countertop there that's within easy reach. Also good for like coffee makers, appliances. You know, I knew I'd forget something. I didn't open the cabinet next to the microwave, but if we look down below, between the flush stove, the solid surface counters, You've got great prep space, good appliance space, and then you notice you just got drawers for days all the way down to the floor here, including a full extra large drawer under the oven. Also, a neat, nice little touch. It has a good feel and look to it. Soft closed drawers on these Eagles in the kitchens. It's just a neat, awesome thing. Plus, we're not done yet. We've got a pantry over here in the slide with motion sense lighting and adjustable shelving. You can mount those things like every ½ inch basically and have as much, as little space gap between each of those as you could possibly need. Now, if I take another step back here, one of the things you'll notice is that TV obviously can pivot around. So if you're sitting on the sofa like I am, or if you're sitting on the theater seat, you always have a direct view of this thing. Or you can make it face the theater exclusively directly, or you can face it a little bit toward the dining area and kitchen. So no matter where you're at in the coach, you always have a good shot at the entertainment. They leave us a handy pocket up here, and there is an HDMI cord up there and power outlet. So if you want to expand your entertainment from just Bluetooth and DVD, you have a fantastic ability to do so. If you can't see this TV, there's a chance you're legally blind because it's big and you're close to it. Down below, of course, our soundbar and that electric space heating fireplace taking the chill out of the air without burning up our propane. And the view from the other direction is just as good. The modern farmhouse decor we're looking at is one of two different decors available on these. And obviously you have like a two-tone thing going on in your kitchen area, which this being a rear kitchen, you just see tons of that light farmhouse, and it's got the, I always say antiquing. I've been told that's not the correct word. I don't know what the right word is. I'm not an interior decorator like Miss Stacy Stewart, who helps put this stuff together down at Jayco, who's obviously done a fantastic job. Isn't it amazing that when they started letting the interiors of these RVs be designed by a lady, they started looking better than when the old guys were doing it? I'm not saying that there can't be a guy who's good with a color palette. I'm just saying that the average old guy that was running it generally did not have the eyeballs for it. So, let's see. What else do we got here? Well, let's start up top where we have more storage. And then down below that, we've got our tri-fold sleeper sofa. But what's really cool about the way that's arranged is it doesn't block the camper off when it's open. You can still easily walk around it. You also have that theater seat over here with heat and massage. There's USB plugs to keep your phone running in there. But it is a manual ripcord kind of theater seat, which is kind of neat because then you don't have to necessarily be hooked up to park power. You know, those power theater recliners only work when you're hooked up to 110. All of the windows can open for airflow in here. And, I mean, obviously you get tons of light. And that light reflecting off that white farmhouse decor looks great. Pardon my coat and my hat. It got a little, like, it's that weird kind of weather today where it's like, it's just chilly and wet enough outside you want to bundle up. But when you come inside, like, you're sweating, you know? It just feel like a big old gross sweat beast. Why am I talking about this? This is, you don't care. Highlight reel material right here. And a couple neat points to note here. Once we get to the bedroom and bathroom, it doesn't matter if we're looking at a 332 Eagle or a 330 Eagle. They are exactly the same. All you're doing is just kind of shifting around the living area a little bit. And pardon the little carpet square. I was trying to keep my feet clean as I came in and out, just out of respect for the next potential owner here. The good news, even if I didn't, you wouldn't know it because we clean every single new RV before it leaves here. That's part of our no fees kind of process that we have here at Haylett RV. We don't charge you extra for things like cleaning the RV, for things like showing you how it works, you know, electric and water surge protectors, batteries. All that stuff is part of our price tag here at Haylett RV. Basically, just add taxes and tags. Now, there's a couple neat things that you can also learn by looking up here at this vent. Obviously, it's got a little different look to it. We'll talk more about it upstairs, but basically, it sucks air in and exhausts differently so that you don't get rain in it on a rainy day. And then, note how deep that cavity is that fan resides in. That's because this thing has a bigger, thicker, taller attic, which means more of an air gap, more room for insulation, which means better heating and cooling efficiency. Here's another interesting note. It does not matter if you get an RV, a 332 Eagle with the American Tradition decor or the modern farmhouse decor. The bathroom will always be farmhouse And the bedroom will always be traditional. That's just an interesting thing that they put together. I like that extra drawer there and awesome counter space. But there's still a couple more neat little details that goes into this. First of all, you've got a night light above the shower here, and that will glow basically when you flip it on at night and make the whole room glow, which against that kind of mother of pearl sort of backdrop in this massive, just easy step-in shower, and you see that corner seat is awesome. You may have also noticed, because I accidentally clicked the wrong switch once, we also have a backlit morning mirror. And how cool is it that you have that mirror for storage, and then you've got like a dedicated medicine cabinet kind of area beside it. So you got a good spot there, I always say, for your Lipitor. Moving in, now these are 6.5 foot tall doorways because we have a 7.5 foot tall camper. And I just, look at the detail of this. I just noticed that little rubber stopper. You see that little guy up there? So that, boop, you're not going to gash up your door. That is detail orientation at its finest. We have built this, and we will, unless you specifically request otherwise, we will probably always build this with the second air conditioner. So this thing has dual 15,000 BTU air units, a 30,000 BTU cooling system. We also like to upgrade these to that 70 by 80 king bed. And interestingly, the travel trailer version of this floor plan has a deeper bed slide than the 319 Eagle fifth wheel, which means more room to stand at the foot of the bed where we are currently, and bigger breeze windows on either side of the bed. You also have a revised front closet arrangement on this RV with a split washer dryer potential. The central section will always be closet and dresser space. And notice that you have hanging bars in all three segments as well as shelves. The different ways you can pack, rack, and stack stuff into this closet, it's just a matter of, you know, how creative can you get with it. If you're going to use a combo job, you're going to use this side over here. If you're going to use a stackable, you actually put them in a sense side by side even though they're split. And notice the motion lights doing their job, kicking off after a little bit of inactivity. The extra dresser drawers here are handy. Like I said, we have more room at the foot of the bed. We also have full storage below it and a dresser across, which once again is one of the perfect places to be able to put those fold-away guest chairs. But I mean, that's a big trunk of easy reach storage capacity right there. 6-place dresser directly across. We have TV hookups above that. And someone's going to ask, why did they change the closet? And the answer is actually the pass-through that you see right below it. And below that huge closet, you've got that full pass-through storage, but this was recently expanded. And that's what's cool about this. This now has that same huge capacity compartment of those drop frame Eagle HT trailers. So once again, it's a fifth wheel feeling feature in a travel trailer. And just like their fifth wheels, it has a thermal radiant barrier on that sort of like what you would call the upper deck of a fifth wheel, but the closet area right there. So there's no thermal gaps in this. You're not going to lose your heating control. You can see that motion lighting doing its job. Battery disconnect on the bottom right, and as we back up, you see a handy little cold water spraying port. Now that right there is just for like quick little campsite cleanups, little handy things like that. Maybe the grandkids or something like that are over and you just want to splash them around on a sunny day. They'd have a ball doing stuff like that, I think. But that same blue coily hose and little sprayer handle can be used in the enclosed docking center over here on the other side of that pass-through as a full outside shower. Now if you take a look at the lines on this nose cap, you see those orange glow beam, I call lightsaber lights on this thing. They look absolutely awesome, and they use orange because it's DOT approved. Now up front on this thing, you can see it's got a revised nose cap from the previous season with that cutaway sort of compartment. And if we get up here past those 30-pound tanks and that power tongue jack, what you see is a multifunctional cargo tray. This went over like gangbusters on the Eagle HT series, and they said, we got to do this on Eagles. So it could be used for tons of batteries. It could be used for a cargo box. You know, you could put hitching up there if you are towing it. You could put a small generator there. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could do with that cavity. The front compartment, you can see, is now a home to a fully enclosed docking center. just like a fifth wheel. And that is kind of the reason that they revised the front closet and expanded the pass-through storage, was to make room for this rolled steel, fully enclosed, heated, protected, insulated docking station, because this is, and Eagle trailers have been for a long time now, cold camp rated. So that's where that hose would hook up for a little outside shower. But above that, you've got a simple side mount solar prep. This RV, like its fifth wheel version, also has a roof solar system. Now, there's different leveling jacks, like there's stabilizing jacks, there's auto leveling, there's all kinds of different ways you can build these. So the little panels that we're seeing right here, they may change depending on the leveling package and stabilization package. On the 332 that we have in stock, the one that we're looking at, has power stabilizers, and each of these panels controls a different set of stabilizers. It's also kind of neat. You control your awning lighting from over here, in case you you kind of want to mess with the wife and kids or something like that. You can be like, honey, the camper's haunted. Magnet holdbacks. The big pass-through compartment has slam latches. This extra storage compartment below the headboard area of the bed right here does not have a slam latch, but this is probably not an everyday access point, so that doesn't really like surprise or offend me. One thing I also want to talk about is the fact that in the world of travel trailers, there are a few, but it is far less common than in fifth wheels to have a 0-degree rated trailer, which is what this is. This is built, insulated, rated exactly like an Eagle fifth wheel. Again, it's just been squished flatter into one flat deck. Like an Eagle fifth wheel, this benefits from the J Smart lighting system. That stands for signals, markers, and reverse travel. Basically, you have backup lighting. You also have turn signal lighting that is more than just the taillights. Like, all the lights down the side of the trailer will blink along with that taillight to give other people on the road an idea of what you're doing and help keep you and them safe. A 2-inch receiver hitch on the back here is absolutely ideal if you want to add like a little bike rack. And here's the thing, even if you're going to use this as like a park model, which most of these big flat deck fifth wheel Eagle travel trailers are used in that way. The receiver hitch on the back is still handy for a bike rack, because have you ever had the experience where like you leave your campsite for a little bit and your bicycles aren't exactly where you left them? I know several people that have reported that. And once again, those dual kitchen overlook windows on the back, it's so cool when you're standing there and the views that you get of your destination. I love this model. And something they've gotten a lot better about since last year is that second awning on a camp kitchen slide. That's an item right there that just most brands, and Jayco included, just didn't do very well last year. I think they really underestimated the public demand for that feature right there, and I'm glad it's there. And it's also very cool that it encompasses that camp kitchen, which has there's TV hookups in the overhead cabinet. You got the Jayco Jaybird Barley Popinator 37 series bottle pop opener right there. The handy appliance outlet's good if you have outdoor fans, lights, things like that, or just a little margarita station. There's also, you can see all kinds of, there's 2 different sets of lighting in here, kind of day lighting and night lighting, or you could obviously use both like we are. The extra fridge out here, very handy for keeping drinks outside so you don't got to jump in and out all the time. And that hot burning Capital Grill and that rolled steel countertop. Just an awesome combination of features. Now, as we get over here past that extra large handle, you see that this is the 0G stable step system. I say that all the time because the first time I saw something like this from MoreRide was on a toy hauler ramp door, and they called it a 0G ramp door. So I've always called these a 0G stable step. I don't know if that's actually the name for these now that I stop and think about it. It doesn't matter, you get the idea. Even with the wind blowing on it, it's still not falling down and cracking anybody on the head. And it's just the nice little details like that that kind of go in here and make the difference. And I think we've looked at the pass-through storage. I've seen so many RVs so quickly recently here, but it bears repeating that huge drop frame compartment right there. There's no such thing as too much storage, but I do like it when a manufacturer tries. So because we talked about the solar side prep on the opposite side of that compartment. My apologies for the duplicate data right there. Speaking of solar, let's get up on the roof. Look at those stable steps working as our check-in guy does his job. Hi, Mr. Blaine. Up top here, we can zero on a few things Jayco's doing a little bit differently. First, a big chunk of stuff you can't see, and that is their Magnum truss roof system. It begins with the fact that we are on plywood decking versus OSB decking. Adds a little bit to the weight rating, and then the heavier roof truss system that they're using here adds further to it. So this has about 50% more load-bearing capacity on the roof than almost anything else in this class. Although that being said, these Eagle trailers are pretty much in a class of their own. We are roof solar prepped, as previously mentioned. Jayco also now has their Overlander solar package, and what's cool about that is well, not even Eagle, but like White Hawk or Pinnacle or anything that's been roof solar prepped for the last couple seasons, you can get the Jayco Overlander solar package. You contact us here at our at Haylett RV. And this stuff is 100% UPSable, and that means way cheaper than crate and freight. I don't know if you understand how much like semi-truck shipping costs are. They're extreme, it's insane. But when you can ship something via UPS, you're good to go. And that can give you basically permanent, like indefinite function of all 12-volt devices on this RV. It's a very cool system and way more affordable than a lot of solar systems in this industry. The roof vent, today has been kind of raining off and on, and today is the day when that roof vent with that kind of suck the air in from underneath system so that you have all time, anytime airflow or exhaust. Absolutely awesome. And then over here, big black bucket looking thing. It's our Winegard Air 360 antenna cover, and what's neat about that, it's omnidirectional, so all you do is channel scan one time and get your channels, but it also can be upgraded to be an LTE receiver. Then you can get kind of a pay-as-you-go sort of plan with that, and you can turn your RV basically into a mobile hotspot that you can then connect all your devices to. You can see up here, again, we've added that bedroom air conditioner. That's an optional air, but both units are 15,000 BTU. So you have the same 30,000 BTU cooling power here that you have in a fifth wheel, that you have, through a North Point, a Pinnacle, Montana's. They all have this same style of air system. This has everything a fifth wheel has, with the exception of all the extra stairs. That's where this one is awesome. So if you like what you see, give us a call, because we do it all with the exception of hidden dealer fees. I do apologize for the convenience on that one. Short of that, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.